Morning, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Almost a year ago, during your fourth State of the Nation address, you called out corruption and said, "Mahiya naman kayo," before the members of Congress. That set expectations from you and your administration that you will wage war against corruption and no one will be spared. 1 year hence, Mr. President, do you think your administration has done enough and fast enough?
Well, I cannot say that we have done enough because we're not done yet. Unfortunately, the more we look, the more we find. And it's going already back beyond my administration, beyond my term. If you remember, I think it was in 2018, already the minority floor leader in the House, Nonoy Andaya, already says that he had uncovered 300 plus billion flood control mess. And so when we look at what happened last year or the year before, then we can see that the pattern extends beyond 2022, back beyond 2022, and back to about that time, 2017, 2018. And at the time, President Duterte, acknowledged that there were great problems in terms of the flood control projects. Pero wala namang nangyari. Having acknowledged it, he did not find accountability in anybody. So I guess that was left up to me to do. And so we are still doing it. We're still working on it. As I said, the more we look, the more we investigate, the more we find. And this is I think, I mean, you're all experienced journalists. You've known this is a deep-seated system of corruption that requires not only structural changes in the way government is run, in the way that the budget is written, but also a change in attitude. Kasi ang sinabi ko, mahiya naman kayo. Pag tinanong mo sa akin, nahiya ba sila? Yung iba, hindi. Akala nila, karapatan nila yung gagawin na ganun eh. Wala kaming ginagawang mali. Ganyan talaga patakbo rito. And that's the hardest part to change. That's the hardest part to change. The culture of within government, where to take they put all kinds of nice words, rebate, kickback yan. Wala nang ibang sa tunay na salita, kickback yan. Okay daw yun, para sa iba, okay sa kanila yun. At saka karapatan nila bilang whatever, na meron silang share doon sa ganagastos ng pera ng gobyerno.
One follow-up, please.
Yeah.
What do you plan to do moving forward, Mr. President, now that corruption has become the favorite talking point among your critics and those who are calling for your ouster?
My answer?
My ouster.
My ouster?
Yes. Binabalik po nila sa inyo ito.
From critics.
Yeah. Kung hindi ko sinabi yung sinabi ko sa SONA, wala tayong pinag-uusapan na ganito. I'm the one who exposed all of this. And I'm the only one that has started to do anything about this. Bakit? Ang mga nakaramba na Pangulo, may nakita ba kayong ginawang ganon? Meron ba silang kinulong? Meron ba silang finish na account? Meron ba silang mga investigasyon na ginawa? Wala. Sa akin lang. Tapos sasabihin, ako daw ang may kagagawan. Kung talagang racket ko yun, ba't ko sisirain yung racket ko? Di ba? That makes absolutely no sense. So,
Mr. President, selective justice.
I'm sorry?
Selective justice.
What about selective justice?
Pinipili lang daw yung mga kinakasuhan, yung mga iniimbestigahan.
No, from the time that we formed the independent commission, sinabi ko, we'll just follow the evidence. And we'll continue to do that.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next question from Kathy.
All right. Let me first read my post-visit statement on this official visit that we have just completed here in Canada. So, to our friends in the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am pleased to report on the productive meetings that we have had with Canada's top government officials and key economic players during our stay here in Vancouver, British Columbia. Ushering in a new chapter in our ties with Canada, Prime Minister Carney and I announced the elevation of Philippine-Canada relations to a strategic partnership. This move, while reflective of the deep and strong bilateral relations that we have developed with Canada, also catalyzes our next steps towards the new phase of our relations in ensuring the sustained and dynamic growth of our bilateral ties. Mahaba na ang pagkakaibigan ng ating mga bansa at halos 1,000,000 Pilipino na ang naninirahan dito sa Canada. Ngunit sa biyaheng ito, ating minarapat na paigtingin at isulong ang mga importanteng kaganapan sa ating pakikipag-ugnayan sa Canada sa larangan ng seguridad, kalakalan at komersyo at iba pa. I have tasked the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Maria Teresa Lazaro, to work together with Canadian Foreign Minister Anita Anand to create a plan of action focusing on joint initiatives that will help both our countries adapt to shifting global realities, address shared challenges, and build capacities for future-ready partnerships. This takes into account current global and regional developments, including rapid changes in technology, as well as social and environmental challenges that bring together uncertainty and volatility. And that seems that will have an impact on the future of our two nations. Prime Minister Carney and I agreed on the strategic importance of the Indo-Pacific and the need for Canada's sustained engagement with the region. In support of Philippine interests and in line with our strategic location in the Indo-Pacific, we agreed to build on our shared regional priorities as we move forward. I spoke about the three main pillars of the Philippines' chairship of ASEAN this year: building prosperity corridors, strengthening peoples, and strengthening peace and security anchors, as well as our unified response to ensure energy and food security and the protection of our nationals in light of geopolitical changes. I reaffirmed the Philippines' commitment to work with Canada and ASEAN in concluding the negotiations for the regional ASEAN-Canada Free Trade Agreement this year. I also thank Prime Minister Carney for Canada's vocal and consistent support in upholding the rule of law in the South China Sea, particularly on the basis of UNCLOS and the 2016 Arbitral Award. I convey the hope that as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Arbitral Award, Canada will continue to be one of the leading voices in upholding the award as an unassailable part of the corpus of international law. I committed to work with the Prime Minister in standing against economic coercion, increasing our bilateral trade, and building resilient supply chains. On this last point, I thank Prime Minister Carney for the decision to participate in the Luzon Economic Corridor with an initial investment pledge of $2 million Canadian to support infrastructure, the supply chain, and clean energy projects within the LEC. I witnessed with Prime Minister Carney the signing of the Joint Declaration of Intent on Energy and Natural Resources Cooperation. This underscores the importance of energy security, economic security, sustainable economic growth, and resilient supply chains in supporting economic prosperity and the global energy transition. I also met with top officials of Canada's key economic players. Some of them have been actively engaged already in the Philippines, and they employ thousands of workers. However, we still look forward to the eventual entry of more Canadian companies into the Philippines investment landscape. During the high-level roundtable meetings with leading Canadian companies and industry leaders, I underscored the Philippines' commitment to fostering a competitive, sustainable, and innovation-driven economy. The discussions focused on strengthening cooperation in mining, critical minerals, energy, the IT/BPM sector, key industries that will support the country's industrial transformation, digital economy, and long-term economic resilience. Conversations with the IT-BPM companies also focused on global artificial intelligence hubs and learning centers that will serve as centralized AI-driven facilities to upskill these companies' global workforce. Amidst the complex geopolitical uncertainties that continue to shape our global strategic partnerships, pursuing a deliberate strategy for trade diversification has become an economic imperative, especially with like-minded parties such as Canada. I highlighted the Philippines' strategic role as a trusted investment destination and reliable partner for Canadian businesses seeking to diversify operations and expand in the Indo-Pacific region. I also met with the B2 Gold Corporation, Oceana Gold Corporation, TELUS Corporation, and NQX to discuss their investment plans in our country. All these business engagements in the sectors of mining, critical minerals, energy, services, and IT-BPM resulted in a combined $2.5 billion in investment from Canadian partners. Thus, it is already timely that we presently are negotiating a free trade agreement with Canada, which we hope will further strengthen our economic cooperation once it enters into force. I am pleased with the deepening of our defense and security ties through our existing landmark agreements on defense and military cooperation, such as the status of visiting forces agreement and the mutual logistics support arrangement. These mechanisms translate our commitment to maintain a peaceful and stable region into practical and tangible actions. My delegation also met with our Canadian counterparts as we pursue new collaborations in certain niche areas, such as mining, critical minerals, nuclear energy, and in space. During my visit, we were also able to sign agreements that will harness the strength of our diaspora as the anchor of our bilateral relations, such as in culture and in the arts, tourism, labor, and migration. My last activity, last night, was a meeting with over 500 members of the Filipino community who came to Vancouver from different parts of Canada. And Canada is a very large country, and some of them came a very long way. I was heartened by their presence and the positive remarks of the Canadian government officials and ordinary Canadian citizens about the Philippines diaspora and how they are very glad and very happy to have the Filipinos that are here in Canada. Filipinos in Canada are widely respected and regarded as a steady and positive force in Canada's society. I conveyed to the Philippine community the Philippine government's continued support for overseas Filipinos and our appreciation for their continued hard work and dedication to their families and loved ones in the Philippines. Tunay na naging matagumpay ang ating biyahe kung saan napagsakayunan natin ang ilang mga inisyatibo sa hanay ng gobyerno at ng pribadong sektor. Hard work, though, does not end here. Patuloy tayong magsisikap upang ang ating nakamit at nasimulan sa Canada ay yayabong at madarama ng mas nakakaraming Pilipino. Maraming salamat. Thank you. Good morning.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Good.
The first question po from Raquel Bayan of Radio Pilipinas.
Good morning. Good morning po, Mr.
Good morning.
President. Sir, in your joint statement last day and also yesterday in front of the Filipino community, you mentioned that you conveyed your hope that Canada would continue to address the barriers for the recognition of the credentials of the Philippine-educated professional. May we know, sir, how was this received by the Prime Minister? Did he commit to anything with this regard?
The reason that we spoke about that is that there has been a change in the law here in Canada when it comes to the migration. To begin with, the quota for Filipino workers has been lessened, and but there are still areas of the new law that are unclear to us, and that's really what I ask. Of course, it would be highly improper for me to suggest any changes in another country's law. All we were asking is that to make very clear and very transparent exactly what the rules are, so that the Filipinos here who are already in Canada know their status. We just want to make sure they have been here. Some of the Filipinos I met during the trip have been here 15 years, have been here at least 5 years, 10 years. And that the status of those who are already living and working here remains the same. And then for the future also, to better understand the new regulations, the new laws, the new quotas, so that we in the Philippines are also able to adjust.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next question from Tristan Nodalo of Newswatch.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning.
Sir, the West Philippine Sea and 2016 Arbitral Award were among the issues discussed during your meeting with Prime Minister Carney. Well, Canada has been one of the countries openly backing the arbitral ruling, but we mark as the award marks its 10th anniversary, China continues to reject it, calling it null and void. But sabi po ng ilang mga observers, the Philippines missed a lot of opportunities during the previous administration in enforcing the award. So sa panahon nyo raw po, we are making up for lost time and under your watch. How concerned are you that a future administration could take a different approach and weaken the gains your government has made in terms of enforcing the arbitral award?
Well, of course, it's a very important issue for the Philippines. So if you're asking me if I'm worried that the policy of the Philippines will change after I leave office, of course I am. Because it's almost, not quite, but it's almost an existential issue for us. Because maybe not existential for ordinary Filipinos, but for the state of the Philippines, of the Philippine Republic. We really have to be consistent in that. And I think the rightness in our positioning, in terms of the way we position the Philippines in our foreign policy vis-a-vis the arbitral award, is validated by countries like Canada who support it and see it as simply enforcement of international law and the defense of our territorial integrity and the exercise of our sovereign rights within our sovereign territory. So it is a very enormous, there are no issues before any president that are greater than that. Some are equally important, but that is as important as anything else that we are having to deal with. Okay?
Thank you po. The next question from Bea of Rappler. Bea.
Yes, hello. Good morning, Mr. President. During your press conference with the Prime Minister, you spoke of the importance of keeping communication between partners very active, again, given disruption to the world order, to keep stability, even as we expand and deepen our relationships with countries like Canada. So, but I wonder, how do you make sense of Beijing's decision to impose sanctions on Secretary Chodoro, even as you are seeking to reset ties with China? And on a broader note, how would you describe the Philippine-U.S. relationship right now?
Okay. Well, the declaration of Beijing as Secretary Chodoro as a persona non grata, I guess, in China, it's just not, it's very unhelpful, in my view, because it really achieves very little. It's more a how do you say, a response to some of the things that some of the pronouncements that he's made in a foreign fora. But it does not move the discussion between the Philippines and China regarding the conflicts that we have, territorial conflicts that we have. It does not move that process forward in any way. It does not make it easier. It does not lessen the risk of a mistake that will, or some kind of skirmish that could grow into something more, or even in moving forward trying to resolve this issue. So it's just not helpful. And I guess, of course, it's China's prerogative to do whatever it is they please, but in the larger scheme of things, in my view, it raises the level of tension rather than lessens it, which is always what we want. And that's why we continue to have open lines of communications with Beijing, and we continue to look for as many lines of communications that we can have, both in government to government, on the commercial level, on the purely personal level. Everything is that we can is being explored. And cutting off another line of communication, which is through our defense ministries, I do not see how it will help that process that we trying to achieve to manage, to lessen to manage the tensions in the West Philippine Sea, to lessen the likelihood of something happening that will be a trigger for something worse. So it is, again, as I said, it's China's prerogative, but I really feel that it was unhelpful. On our relations with the United States, well, those really have not changed status since I came into office. We just keep growing stronger together. We keep supporting each other, and we have been strong partners for over 100 years. And in that time, our engagements with the United States have become deeper, have become more expansive. And now, with the new sectors that are being created by the new technologies, we have new areas even to explore. So, patuloy lang. It is as strong and it is as active as it has ever been, if not more so than before.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next question from Ivan Mayrina.
Good
Thank you, Mr. President. The next question from Kathy Valiente of Manila Times.
Hi, good morning, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr. President, the Senate Impeachment Court will begin po the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara. As a former senator judge, do you think po the accused should attend the trial?
Do I?
Do you think po dapat mag-attend po yung accused sa impeachment trial po? As a former po senator judge.
Well, my only experience with an impeachment trial was with when I was senator with Corona, the Corona impeachment trial. And it's really up to the accused whether or not they feel the need to appear. I guess the lawyers from on the defense side will give their advice. It's not for me to say one way or the other. But of course, it would be much easier to get to the bottom of everything if you can speak to the accused directly. And the accused can answer directly, not through secondary channels, not through the lawyers. Kung diretsong makapagsagot, di siyempre mas magiging maliwanag ang proseso, mas magiging madali ang proseso. But that's just my own opinion, and that's not a legal opinion because I'm not a lawyer. But I'm just trying to put myself in that position. So I would probably myself, if it was me being accused, I would almost insist over the advice of lawyers. If they advise me not to appear, I would insist on appearing because kaya ko namang sagutin. Di, sige, sagutin natin.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're down to the last two questions, Mr. President. So, Evelyn Quiroz of Filipino Mirror.
Wala.
Yeah.
Here. There's another one here.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning.
Follow-up ko lang po sana. Meron po tayong inventory ng mga contractors, congressmen, and construction companies po na previously in-announce niyo po, kasi po nung nag-present po kayo sa amin 11 months ago, meron pong 15 contractors na naka-corner ng mga malalaking flood control projects.
So, what's the question?
Ano po, may inventory po na nasubmit sa inyo?
Oo. Hindi pa ako nakapag-speech sa SONA, meron eh. Maliwanag naman eh, nasa papeles lahat eh. So, in fact, if you remember, when I spoke about it with you around that time, nagbigay talaga ako ng listahan ng mga kontrakto. And since then, naimbestigahan sila lahat. Yung nakitang meron talagang problema, marami, may kaso na sila. At saka na-freeze na yung mga account nila. Tapos tuloy ang investigation sa kanila. At itutuloy ang mga kaso sa kanila. Yung iba naman, there were naman one or two na it turns out na although nakapangalan sila doon at malaki ang mga kontrata nila, wala naman naging problema. So what we have, yes, we have the inventory not only of the contractors but also the projects themselves that are problematic.
Follow-up lang po, Mr. President. Pwede po makahingi ng comment nyo dun po sa plano ng Ombudsman na i-discharge as a state witness si former DPWH Secretary Bonoan. Sabi po kasi na Ombudsman, mas mapapalakas daw po ang kaso against the former Speaker,
Well,
Martin
again,
Romualdez.
that is up to the ombudsman to decide on how to proceed with all of these investigations. And if he feels that the former secretary, Manny Bonoan, will be helpful to the cases with the other people, then again, to use the word again, it is his prerogative. It is his decision. It is his judgment to make. And I have complete faith in the ombudsman and what he's doing.
Thank you, Mr. President. The last question from Helen Flores of the Philippine Star.
Mr. President.
Good morning.
Sir, in light of the rising violence involving minors, there were proposals to ban the use of social media for minors, specifically under 16. And there were also proposals to lower the age of criminal liability, now at 15 years old. What is your take on this proposal?
All of these possible actions to be taken, like the banning of a certain, we banned already the game that yung shooters sa Tacloban were apparently avid players of. So we're looking to, you see, here's the problem. The problem is that yung mga ganon, I'm sure all of you have seen on these games and how they're played, it desensitizes killing and violence. Kasi laro lang naman eh. Kasi kahit na mabaril yan sa game, bumaril ka ng 50 tao, nabubuhay pa naman yan eh. So it desensitizes the kid. Now, it's not really that big a deal to shoot somebody. And that's really, for me, the problem. On the other side of that question is whether we should lower the age of to ano
Criminal liability.
yeah, but no, they're even talking down to 12 years old. I'm not sure how that will work. If we have to study it further. Yung mga ating mga child psychologists, yung mga surveys na ginagawa about the mental health of children, kailangan pag-aralan na mabuti yan. Because if we are lowering the age of responsibility for such crimes, then it would imply that children have changed from before. So whereas if they are under 18, under 16, nagbago ba ang pag-iisip ng mga bata? I'm not saying that that's not the case. It's possible. Nag-iba mundo eh. Iba yung exposure ng mga bata eh. Iba yung exposure nila sa social media. Nung lumalaki ako, wala namang ganyan eh. So maybe that has an effect. We're not sure. But we're studying it very, very well because the effect is yung desensitization. That's also the lowering the sexualization of young people. has the same effect, the complete availability of pornography. And look, we all have, they talk about this site and that site. And nalagay lang, are you 18 or not? A 5-year-old can answer that properly, di ba? So what kind of test is that? So when it comes to sex and violence, there really is an effect. The social media really has had an effect. But what that effect truly is something that's not as easy to answer as perhaps some of the other issues. So that requires some not further study, further study, but some of the opinions of our experts who make it their life's work to study the psychology of children, the effect of social media on children, and their actions that they do when they are not playing those games. So patuloy lang ang ating gagawin. But of course, when it is clear that a certain game or a class of games are responsible for the desensitization of our children to violence, then yes, I think we should ban them, and we will ban them.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
All right.
That concludes our press conference this morning. Thank you po. Maraming salamat,
Maraming
everyone.
salamat. Thank you.